What's going on, Phoenicians? Welcome to week 4 of the Phoenyx 5. If you're new to my channel, this is the video where I document the best 5 videos of the previous week from YouTubers that I'm subscribed to. I'm subscribed to a lot of YouTubers. So, last week I did a lot of videos related to the maps. I mean, everyone was talking about that, and in the past week people have been talking about McDonald's chocolate fries and the maps themselves, but I feel like there's been a lot more than that this week. And we are going to go look at that right now. But with number 5, of course I have to go with the first McDonald's chocolate fries video from Chris abroad in Japan. I believe this is your second time on the Phoenyx 5 list. This video got a lot of views really fast, you know, relative to his subscriber count of almost 200,000. And the way he put this video together was hilarious. He seemed to like it, and it was 330 yen apparently. But this was the first video that kind of spawned every other J vlogger to make McDonald's chocolate fries video. Admittedly, myself as well. I mean, I had a plan to make the video, but after I saw Chris's video, I was like, okay, I have to do that too. But it was funny, and that's why it's number 5. So, moving on. Number 4. From Kiko Simon, part of the Japan Business Time series, episode number 4. I believe this is Kiko's first time on the 5. How do Japanese react to efficient foreigners? Now, I actually have a story about this. A friend of mine used to work in Japan. Now he's back where he's, you know, he's a foreigner. He's back to where he's from originally. He's a very efficient guy. He kind of puts completing work first and then trying to put that completion as fast as he can. And a lot of his coworkers didn't like that because he would get done with work super early and then go home. I mean, he would have an assignment to do for the week for his job. He worked as an investment banker. He would do that assignment within a few days and just go right home. And his coworkers would take weeks to do that same assignment. So his boss loved him because he was super efficient, got a lot of stuff done, got paid very high, but his coworkers didn't like him. And this is actually a good, kind of a good, interesting insight into the whole reaction to efficient foreigners, because there seems to be a stereotype of Japanese workers not being efficient. So I highly recommend you watch this video because Rochelle, who is doing this video series with Kiko, is the expert on transcultural communication and transcultural issues. So this is a very interesting episode of their series. So that's why that's number 4. Number 3, from Big Uragons. I don't know if you know these guys or not, but this is a channel that's like a Japanese game show channel, but it's bilingual. They have English subtitles. One of my friends works for them. Usually the main stars are Megwin, who's sitting in the front seat of this car right now, and this is the strip convertible car game. It's especially like kind of what you would expect from a Japanese game show, right? Something crazy like that. And this is with Bijo, a beautiful girl, who's sitting in the back seat there. So what they would do is they would drive a certain distance, get off the highway, and then like they would have to like do an action, right? And that's what they would do. And this episode was particularly hilarious. But I highly recommend you guys watch all 3 episodes so far. They were pretty funny. Number 2, from Amadou Fu. I met this guy recently. His name is also Chris, apparently. He is a gay man living in Japan, very open about it, and he's super, super friendly. I've made a few videos with him. One of the nicest dudes I've ever met, and he actually, he made a video about his coming out story, and it was super interesting to hear about this because, you know, some people's coming out stories are tragic. Some of them are hilarious. His is very interesting, and it puts insight because, you know, me, a straight male, I don't have to deal with this type of stuff, right? But for him, obviously, being a gay man, he has to, you know, deal with that a lot. And his insight kind of, you know, the way he made this video, it really, really puts a lot of insight for people who are not gay. And it's very interesting. I really, really thought this was a well put together video. Had a good advice for people who are LGBT. And for people who are straight, it gives you a lot of insight into what gay people sometimes have to deal with, right? So that's why I put this one as number 2.
And finally, number 1 on this week's Phoenyx 5.
Number 1 from that Japanese man Yuta, his second time on the 5. Japanese reactive foreigners Japanese, will they speak English back? This is actually something I've noticed a lot of times. Now, again, I didn't choose this because I'm in this video, and I wasn't, I'm in this a lot actually. I didn't choose this because of that reason, even though actually this is how I met Yuta for the first time. I chose this because it was actually a very interesting experiment, because a lot of times some people would speak strictly English to you, right? And I kind of figured out that, throughout this experiment, it happens, and when it happens, it startles you, which is why the whole idea of foreigners speaking English back to you, even though you're able to speak Japanese, kind of stands out a lot as somewhat of a stereotype of living in Japan. But as you can see already from 2 minutes in the video, the number of people who spoke strictly Japanese was 8, a little bit of Japanese was 1, and purely English was just 1. So I want you guys to watch this video and look at the final count and see if you're surprised or not as to how this came about, because actually making this video and looking at the inside of this video is super interesting to me. So if you guys are interested in any of these videos, all the links are down below in the description. Also, click up here to this little annotation thingy here. You can click on that and you can figure out for yourself if these were good videos or not. Like I said, I want you guys to also leave your suggestions throughout the week of a video you guys found as interesting from a J-vlogger or from anybody really on YouTube. I try to keep this as I try to keep these people as channels I'm subscribed to, but this is a good way for me to find new channels to look at. So leave your suggestions on Twitter, and as always, I will see you on the next video. Take it easy, Phoenicians.
When once was a lad of 22, I fell upon my way. My life devoid of meaning, and my conscience led astray, till a wise man took me by the hand and said, "Lad, you're